by fellow free Southern thinkers. This is LL3's News Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date, Sunday, May 7th, 2017. Yes, it is a beautiful day out in the Fort Lauderdale area. So the Air and Sea show will be a dandy one. So all you folks out there, just be safe, okay? And I am transmitting at CJ's Java Lounge, located at 400 Southwest 1st Avenue along the New Rivers of Fort Lauderdale, southwest corner of Andrews Avenue Bridge. Yeah, support the mom and paws, help the economy. Local shops are the key. All right, my friends? All right, well, let's check this article out that was written by Gordon Duff he's the actual chief editor of Veterans Today and New Eastern Outlook. They posted on there as well. And it's entitled Infowars, More Than Simply Fake News. All right, so let's see what Mr. Duff has to say about it, because there's some controversies with him as well. I will begin. The month was August in the year 2015 in response to an announcement by the U.S. Department of Defense that military exercise was planned for that summer. One that would have personnel blending in with the local population. A strange video was posted, which there's a link for that. It described massive and foreboding warehouses, terrifying black buildings that were thrown up overnight. The video described them as warehouses for strong coffins and hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions, to be executed by the U.S. Army in the coming Jade Helm exercise. The video was prepared by the Infowars organization, narrated by Boo77, whose audience is larger than any television network. Based on these warehouses for the dead and the closing of 5 Walmart stores reputed to be built over secret prisons connected with underground tunnels. The governor of the state of Texas, Greg Abbott, assigned state-controlled military forces to follow and control the U.S. Army and prevent the mass killings of millions, as proven by the underground tunnels and warehouses for the dead. These government warehouses, thrown up overnight and located in the backwoods of Kentucky, were no stranger to many Americans. The secret location that pushed Governor Abbott to an armed confrontation with Washington is called Star Hill in Loretto, Kentucky. Some had already visited these facilities, as described by Infowars, as being thrown up overnight. They are the aging warehouses of makers marked whiskey, and have been visited by hundreds of thousands of people for over 100 years as part of the Bourbon Trail. The secret prisons and tunnels were never found, though Governor Abbott said armed teams looking for them. Confrontation with Washington became so severe that several regular guests on Infowars network broadcast directions for making chemical weapons and suggested their use against members of the military stationed in Texas and their families. For those unaware, the U.S. Army is the largest employer in Texas and accounts for 250 jobs there, both uniformed services and civilian. In 2016, it's the same organization. Thank you. It's the same organization. Infowars fabricated a story about Washington, D.C. pizza restaurant that kept children enslaved in secret underground prisons. Former National Security Advisor to Donald Trump, General Michael Flynn, and his son, Michael Flynn Jr., spread the story on network media. In fact, Michael Flynn Jr., Chief of Staff to General Flynn, still repeats this very odd tale. On December 8, 2016, Edgar Welch, 28 of North Carolina, in response to Infowars and the Flynn accusations, entered a restaurant while firing a military-type assault rifle into the walls and ceiling. Welch was looking for the basement, Flynn had said, who was full of sexually abused children. There was no basement. Flynn, to this day, continues telling the story and await a new Edgar Welch. There is a reason we are telling the story in fact. According to Donald Trump, everything on Infowars is true, and the U.S. government is now based its policies, not all but certainly some, on these stories. And the world thought Governor Abbott was a total idiot and an embarrassment Little did we know what was heading our way. Now, for context, when we are done, the idea of U.S. lobbing rockets into Syria based on an internet rumor will be totally understandable. America's scandal sheets are filled with photos of Alex Jones of Infowars describing him as a cult leader, bigot, and racist. A year ago, he could have blown himself up on the White House lawn and would have meant nothing. Things are different now. Minor scandals in Jones' personal life are national news, as Donald Trump is known to be a follower, perhaps even a cult follower, of Jones. For years, Jones has pushed outlandish stories of Russian armies being hidden around America, of fake scandals, were totally censoring any criticism of issues involving Israel or the neocon elites who brought American low under Bush and Cheney. There is nothing new to any of this, and all American media is corrupt. No one doubts it, nor have for many years now, but we don't have a new wrinkle or two. Here are some lessons that can be learned as well. The world now knows Alex Jones. Alex Jones is the host of Infowars, formerly an anti-government website and podcaster, and now has turned out to be a bit of something else. Jones, over the past 2 weeks, have been in court in Texas over child custody issues. The mainstream news is reporting his defeat in hearings involving his private life. What came out of these hearings is outstanding. Jones has openly admitted to being an actor, not an activist at all, but someone hired to play the role of Alex Jones, according to court documents, paid a massive salary. The press has turned Jones into a virtual Hollywood celebrity now, feeding off his family's difficulties. What we know now, however, is that Jones is an actor, perhaps even a great actor, and much is coming into place. Jones isn't the only one. The fact there are a few genuine activists out there. Fox News, the activist broadcaster, is famous for Glenn Beck, Fada O'Reilly, and Sean Hannity, has been clear their talking heads have always been actors paid to have beliefs which can change a minute in order come down from the top. Nobody ever asked who the top is, and until now, nobody has asked why nobody asked. None have backgrounds of activists. I don't consider myself an activist, but I do understand where they come from and why. I look at my own family. My father was a union organizer, a Communist Party member during the 1930s, as was former President Ronald Reagan. While my mother was a daughter of a Kentucky coal miner, I grew up in politics, served in war, was active at university and the anti-war movement. Activism is part of conscience and awareness, as I see it, and more likely brought on by a dose of bad brain chemistry and poor upbringing as well. Jones and the Infowars organization is important because it is simply another look at how every movement that can be controlled is controlled. It is irresponsible to assume that every news organization isn't targeted, that every form of information available to the public isn't controlled or suppressed in some way. The evidence has been overwhelming. The most frightening and certainly most confusing aspect is that some media organizations are both controlled and suppressed. This is what makes life interesting. What came on Jones some years ago when was looking at Site Intelligence, a website run by Rita Katz. Site was responsible for disseminating fake Bin Laden tapes and was the primary source for the fake intelligence that led to the invasion of Iraq in 2003. Katz is the daughter of a Mossad agent executed in Iraq. Site regularly briefs both the CIA and American Congress. Site fabricates all of its own material. Site is partnered with the Baka Files, an Israel-based fake news site that pushes conspiracy theories intended to confound the enemies of Israel. Their U.S. counterpart is Stratfor. We were introduced to Stratfor by VT editor and former director of Inter Services Intelligence, or ISI, General Hamed Gul of Pakistan. General Gul knew Stratfor's George Freeman very well and told me that Pakistan used Stratfor as go-between with Israel's intelligence agencies. The ISI and Mossad worked together closely. As author Jeff Gates learned during one of our visits to Pakistan, Gates was alarmed when, while in the lobby of the Marriott Hotel in Islamabad, to introduce him to a Mossad team sitting at the tables next to ours. Gates and I had lunch earlier that day at the Marriott with then current ISI Director General Pasha. According to General Skull, Stratford was used for laundering fake intelligence into mainstream in order to aid Stratford to build their credibility. Another Israeli intelligence organization, WikiLeaks, hacked Stratford and published a number of their fabricated stories. We laundered them to their prominence with the WikiLeaks seal of approval. WikiLeaks exposed in 2009 by former National Security Advisor Gabriel Brzezinski as an intelligence agency project. Regularly seeds fabricated materials into the leaks, which is usually material they received directly from Israeli intelligence. No, it wasn't Russia, which led us to Austin, Texas, Infowars and their local partner, Stratford. Infowars is, according to Go and other sources, simply a finger on the same hand as WikiLeaks or the Times of Israel or Fox News and the Murdoch News corporate empire. These organizations comprise a portion of the media power of the real neocon elites, not a group of Washington think tankers at all, but front men of the City of London Rothschild banking organization and the worldwide Kosher Nostra crime groups. These groups need a media empire to create distractions like WikiLeaks or stories about a deep state to keep focus of their efforts to reduce humanity to slavery, but we need to go back to Alex Jones for a bit still. We had always known as Jones was an actor. Jones and radio host and broadcast executive Jeff Renz had known each other for decades. Renz has described their long-time relationship and their breakup. Renz claims it was over issues involving Israel, though money is usually at the root of these things. However, it's hard to ignore that issues involving Israel are a red line in American media. It was easy to see, as we did in April 27, that Donald Trump, whipping boy of the American press, suddenly became the great white hope when he attacked Syria. His sins were immediately forgiven, something that can only be done within the Israeli lobby, which is wide, pervasive, and oft-denied utter stranglehold on America's media. This was quickly followed by Trump's delve into Russia bashing, as long expected. What developed from this was a long-expected block lined up against Russia, Iran, Syria, with Trump playing cowboy mad bomber, offloading shiploads of tanks into Jordan until thousands of more troops into Syria and sending an armada against Korea. This left Jones high and dry after overselling Trump's supposed hatred of the Jews and his love for Putin to a bottom-rung American audience hungry for minority bashing and finger-pointing. When Trump became the plug preventing Washington swamps from being drained, new levels of absurdity were reached across the media, not just Infowars and Fox. Excuse after excuse for only weeks into the presidency, abandoning all major policy initiatives. The story is one part of a puzzle or mosaic, if you will. If the media are all actors, what are politicians? What are the generals? As we may have seen in Syria or elsewhere, not even the dead are real. None of them anyway. It is an interesting synopsis what Mr. Duff has done. And, of course, I did talk about in my past episode about Alex Jones being an actor and all that and the family issues, and I gave you my intake on it. But one thing about Gordon Duff, he burned a lot of bridges with people, too. So you have to always look at the other side. How much credibility does he have? There's a claim that he was known as Bob Foote, Foote, accordance with Stu Webb. and the rest of his team that left and started Truth Warriors. And like I always said before, folks have to observe responsibly. Focus on the information, never the person. You always got to do your homework. That's the name of the game. Like I was studying this stuff long before I heard about Alex Jones, around 2002. And a lot of areas I understood. We have things in common, which is fine. And I did talk about him for the folks that are beginners. But if you're going to call him actually fake, yeah, he may be an actor, yeah. But how about the information? You got to see things a lot broader. So he has some good points. I'm not going to argue with Mr. Duff. Honest. Is he repenting for his past history? Possibly. The one order exists? Yeah. Controlled opposition? Absolutely. You always got to look at all those areas. That's why I tell folks, stay vigilant, observe responsibly. And so that's but one thing for sure, that's why I'm not going to bash Mr. Jones completely. However, how far is this going to go? Now with divorce and all that, the custody battle, how far are people going to exploit it? Is he a shill? Many people believe so. Even the late William Cooper said he was a liar. So, this is some things you got to always look at the bigger picture. And even with the Jeff Renz thing was very morose. But in a lot of areas, like I said, don't rely, never leave your eggs in one basket. Go further, do your own research, do your homework a little more thoroughly. Trust me, you'll get ahead a lot. You'll get in the head a lot better, especially when it comes to geopolitics. So, with Gordon Duff, let's talk about his credibility, or they call him Bob Foote. And it says right here, Nazareth Republic Now. That's a Galactic News. This one came out Thursday, February 23rd, 2017. Gordon Duff exposed. It's one man's opinion. And who wrote this, actually? Okay, Jim Fetzer. Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll read that. And it actually came out. Some sources came out, like KG Facts, the 16th of last year, September 16th. While disinformers like MT Kesh, Gordon Duff, or Sanders Koski think they must spread fabricated lies as evidence, we expose real criminals. Today we show why Kesh is supported by veterans today by taking a closer look at Kesh's New World Order buddy, Gordon Duff, whose real name isn't Duff, but Bob Foote. Aside from using fake names, Gordon Duff seems to work for the Rockefeller faction of the Illuminati. This explains why he supports Kesh. Both are NOWO agents. Read the following excerpts for yourself, sources below. We may expose Gordon Duff a bit today and further go about exposing the fact this man may be a dual loyal citizen. No, not Israel and the U.S. dummy. He may have a citizenship card with the internationalist cabal while claiming citizenry with We the People. Gordon Duff, a.k.a. Bob Foote, works for the Rockefeller wing of the JWO and hangs with us to subtly push the elite agenda while pretending to be against it. Then I got banned in the main comment area of VT. Unfortunately, Duff has been bragging for years how open and free Veterans Today is, and that no one gets censored. Duff fried Chip Tatum and Stu Webb. Jim Fetzer left soon after, and then they reassembled at a place called Veterans Truth Network. There is a huge war going on with Veterans Today right now. I have my own war with Duff, and I never asked for. Where he has done nothing but slander me while plagiarizing my work in a really greasy way. I will nail a truth, and 2 or 3 days later, the Duffer will publish the exact same topic, making the same points perfectly reworded and spun it in it with so much crap. It is seriously damaged and obviously with no given credit given to the source. Duff is an enemy. If Duff has been ordered to discredit certain players, it is because his bosses at the agency that employs him have ordered to do so. The events going down at BT may in fact be an infight between the FBI and the factions of the CIA and possibly other agencies. In essence, a turf war. There is also a scenario in which Duff is the fox set up for everyone to chase. Why is it the guy out there talking about Duff don't seem to get his role as an agent working for the CIA? Did they get just what those guys are trained to do? This info is part of their tradecraft. They use it whenever it seems deemed necessary and useful. I'm not sure that Veterans Today stands for anymore. My guess is a hodgepodge of nothing. Duff admittedly has high-up contacts that control him, so nothing he says nor advises as he gives can be trusted. Duff plays it both ways on the Nazis because he is trying to have a big tent, but it basically means that you can critically think you at some point realize that Duff is a full of shit. 1 minute he tells you all wonderful things Hitler did, and then he allows his total crap posted in his name with no disavowal. You all have been warned. The shit continues to hit the fan in the PSYOP community called Veterans Today. Remember, Duff is a Jew who plays fast and loose with the truth, and he was brought up to do the living in a Talmudic mindset community amongst communist American Jews. He praises Hitler one day, condemns him another, floats alien theories of no proof, but has no problem attacking keyword detectives as goofs. In my book, he has been ousted, and with this article below, so has Mike Harris, and in fact, anyone still at VT now is suspect since they cleaned out the independent thinkers. Too bad Mike, you and Foote Duff no longer have any credibility left with discerning watchers. Also, what the heck does that mean? Who is controlled opposition who is being handled by their masters? Last time I looked, controlled opposition is a fake dissent and handled by their masters. Is what occurs to those that are controlled opposition. Please note that we note Foote's admission that he is a handler from the Mickey Mouse Club or the internationalist cabal that runs the U.S. government. Above quotes are taken from this and this article. Now we have solid evidence that Keshi does not want to free you from the elite. No, he wants to make things even worse. That's why Rockefeller agent Gordon Duff supports him. Keshi's and Duff's modus operandi is simple. They pretend to oppose the elite, but in reality, they not only support the NWO plan, they want to achieve something much more sinister than that. The parallels between Duff and Keshi are obvious. Both claim to oppose what they support. Both claim to be open. Both they control and censor. Both accuse and slander innocents. It seems there's a heavy infighting going on between different agencies and factions. What is most obvious is that pedophilia seems to be main focus of all involved: Keshi, CIA, FBI, Illuminati, other cults, and so on. So we have to ask ourselves why this is so. Why are Keshi and Duff constantly talking about pedophilia and accusing innocents when they are not involved in themselves? To accuse former supporters of being pedophiles all the time is not only insane, but also pointless when there is absolutely no evidence. Keshi keeps making a fool out of himself. Keshi, Duff, and Kakasi make up the connections to Antwerp where there are none. The real Belgian red circle has always been exposed. Unfortunately, in every country there is a sexual abuse taking place. in some countries more than others. The UK stands out, and does Belgium. A few years ago in Belgium, Laurent Lewis published a long list of prominent names that were involved in such abusive crimes. And for what that he was attacked heavily. In his video, Laurent Lewis speaks about state pedophilia. Back then, I even emailed Keshi about Laurent Lewis. I kept the email and I sent him on December 18, 2013, where I informed him about the pedophilia network. So not only Kesh blew the whistle on pedophilia in Belgium, but Laurent Lewis did. Once again, Kesh takes credit for someone else's achievement. Now, Keshi internationally projects that the only story on me in order to divert attention anyway from his wrongdoing, because I exposed his lies and his plasma frauds. He attacked me and accused me of the crimes he committed himself. So once again, Keshi uses information he receives from me against me. That shows what kind of friend and brother he really is. And Duff supports all that. They must use such made-up stories because KF technology doesn't work. So they need another sensation instead to keep the attention alive. But why would a scientist or senior editor constantly be busy with thoughts about pedophilia? That's a good question to ask. Here's another piece of evidence. Here we can read Veterans Today is an actual FBI COINTEL operation. Watch the video in the same revelation for a worldwide audience. And it talks and it says it right here, the ascension worth. You can see that yourself. So yeah, check it out yourselves, folks. And the video here as well for the same revelation. That's with Stu Webb. I've seen it too. So, and strangely, it just recently came to light that the FBI raided a child porn website themselves, rather than shutting it down in an attempt to whitewash Duff. Even VT themselves reported on that, pointing fingers at them to divert attention away from Duff, writing there are some allegations which pointed to the direction that the FBI was implicitly promoting child pornography. And if the allegations against the FBI are true regarding its control of the network, child pornography for approximately 2 weeks is actively participated in the re-victimization of those depicted in child pornography. And that is the agency that Duff is working for. So here we have real evidence. It's Gordon Duff who is involved in the running of pedophile websites through the FBI. That's why Keshi likes him so much. They are pedophiles supporting each other. It was obvious that Keshi and Duffy do something to have something to hide. Otherwise, they wouldn't constantly be talking about pedophiles. And now it makes sense that neither the FBI nor the CIA have taken action against Keshi so far when they are involved in this criminal mess. So we would like to ask all of our readers to look for more hints. If you find more connections between Kesh, Duff, and child abuse, let us know. We will be happy to publish it. Here's another article which shows Duff fires everyone who doesn't agree with his lies. It is the same behavior as Kesh's, and this is all also information about the assassination team run people off the road. That doesn't sound familiar. Quote, Gordon has boasted to me in the past and could have people taken out with a few phone calls. They are peaceful people that Kesh surrounds themselves with world peace. And of course here you can get the interview. You can check that yourselves. And for more about VT drama, can be found in this article written by Duff's former colleague, Jim Fetzer. So it is interesting, you know. Actually, Fetzer didn't write this. My mistake. And I apologize for that. But, oh yeah, man, it's like a lot of stuff here, you know. That's why you always gotta look at the bigger picture. Conclusion: the whole thing is one giant psyop to distract people from ongoing efforts to establish the NWO. And in the meantime, they are engaged in their criminal activities while trying to blame them on innocence. Whatever Duff is now involved in CIA or FBI is really of no importance. We have read enough of this mess, and it's clear that he plays a very dirty game, and like Keshi, he really seems to speak the truth. So all you guys who listen to Keshi and make scans and coils and other KF crap are actively supporting the New World Order and their pedophile stooges, and therefore the further enslavement of yourself and humanity. Keshi lost followers and credibility, so it seems he sold out to New World Order to receive support from Duff. You want to free yourself from them, the ones who make your lives miserable. Them, it's narcissists like Keshi and Duff and other paid elite deceivers, manipulators, and criminals who mess with your mind. You KF people support them. If you really want to have a better future, turn away from Keshi and start thinking for yourself. Don't let Keshi tell you what to think or what to believe. Otherwise, you will only get more of the same. Keshi lies when he opens his mouth, and only a fool will not see that. And as you have just read, Gordon Duff is an FBI troll and Rockefeller's foot soldier. UKF guys keep chasing one blueprint after another, hoping they will give you freedom and happiness. But it seems you won't ever be happy until Keshi and his elite buddies give you the final blueprint. And there's a little short interview about this on YouTube. Rockefeller info in the New World Order. So that was by the late Aaron Russo. So definitely check that out. And like I said here, this was a short interview about Rockefeller and the One World Order and their total control plans. This is what you support when you believe and follow Kesh and Duff. So, one thing I gotta say about Duff, you make all these claims. Where are your merits? Where are your credibility? So I'm going to continue on here with Tom and Hannigan that came out an archive on August 6, 2013. And it says here, Gordon Duff, the Traitor Exposed by Tom Hannigan. I think he does a 21st Century Wire. No, he doesn't do 21st Century Wire. I'm not so sure now. I get like everyone mixed up here. And, of course, Worldwide Warlord, Gordon Duff. Senior editor of Veteran Today says here, United States of America, it can now be reported that Ambassador Leo Wanta is being coerced and blackmailed by a Manus group, a Nazi Jew, Bush, Clinton crime family syndicate, stooge, Gordon Duff on VeteransToday.com. Note, a Manus group is controlled by German Nazis and Israeli Mossad asset and enabler, former Vice President Richard Dick Cheney, which he's a New World Order Uncle Tom to be exact, Dick Cheney. We can now divulge that Amos Group has been directly fingered by the Joint American-French Intelligence Task Force as being tied to the Israeli Mossad and the Office of Naval Intelligence, ONI, infiltration and orchestration of the terrorist Al-Qaeda cells in the nation of Yemen, a.k.a. Nazi Paperclip Amatis Group headquarters that created the illusion of terrorist threats that forced the close down of U.S. and other Western assemblies across Africa. The Nazi Jew bitch, Gordon Duff, continues his act on duly elected President Al Gore Jr. on behalf of the Benghazi war criminal, Bush Clinton crime family syndicate, business partners, lesbian, Nazi Jew Hillary Rodham Clinton. Reference, it was Albert Gore Jr. that helped Bill Clinton as president in 1992, who was deep in third place versus Ross Perot, then President George Herbert Walker. Before Albert Gore's vice presidential nomination sealed the deal. Message to Duff: it is your best interest to seize and decease now. Do you get it? Reference: Wanta's credibility is now in question. I've been dealing with him since 1995, and it was myself, Tom Hannigan, and then Vice President Albert Gore Jr. that saved his life in Surrey, Oklahoma. Wanta is now associating himself with Israeli Mossad asset and Amos Group terrorist Gordon Duff on VeteransToday.com, who now claims he was Leo's Wanta's back. direct message to bitch Duff. Your back is ass backwards once again. Cease and desist now. P.S. Last night, as Israeli Mossad-controlled U.S. media continued their false flag terrorist propaganda, I called Wanta and said, "We have no choice but a revolution, as Thomas Jefferson will clearly order now." Wanta said that is unacceptable. Wanta and I then exchanged vulgarities with each other, in which I described that alleged U.S. intelligence community in general as rotten Nazi paperclip thugs, along with the NSA that have eradicated the U.S. Constitution and our American Republic. Wanta hung up the phone and placed a block on his phone, which is 202-379-2904, extension 001. Note, this phone Chigneri is directly linked to Nazi Jew Gordon Duff and former Vice President Richard Dick Cheney, current U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder, which not anymore, who needs to be prosecuted merely for massive treason, and Israeli Mossad-administered Amanist Group. In closing, a massive financial crisis is imminent with JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, along with criminal activity owned U.S. Federal Reserve, unable to create liquidity in the world financial markets because their ass-backwards derivatives led to the Central Bank of Japan. So, tells you everything here. Yeah, interesting little brief. But, like I said, because he did piss a lot of people off, this Mr. Duff. And, of course, we got one here on a link here about Gordon Duff's real identity and agenda revealed to the world. This is May 15th, 2015. And there's a video on here, too, which came from Project N Research. And he's from, what's his name, Glenn Kennedy. He's involved with Stu Webb and the rest of the Veterans Truth Network. And there's he had a video where Stu Webb revealed Gordon Duff as Bob Foote. And, of course, there's a 3-hour, almost close to 3-hour video on April 28th, how 5 riders left. Okay, they left. Okay, and says here, Stu Webb, Jim Fester, Bruce Campbell, Dean Henderson, and Gene Tatum, as many others. Talk about left VT FBI trolls, try to kill him right off the road, and Jeff Friends appears to be hit by an electronic weapon. So it sounds like fact is stranger than fiction, but you should always look at this and check it for yourselves. However, there's a reason why I had to bring this to light, because you got a lot of folks out there may not like Alex Jones, and they'll try to grab this article and say, yeah, Gordon Duff's the man. All right? That's why, my friends, you have to see things a lot broader than what it is. So I'm going to actually leave this link on here. Like what it says here, what do you believe? Who are you going to believe? Gordon Duff uses a fake name and never put one penny into the fight against the New World Order, who has been caught in lie after lie. Gordon Duff bragged to Stu he had called off the FBI killer from assassinating Stu Webb when he began writing for VT, but yet 1 week after Duff Webb's breakup, those same FBI killers tried to assassinate Stu, who made the call to the FBI killers gave permission to kill Stu Webb. I believe David Hinkson, a patriot who has been in prison for life on false charges. Gordon Duff says the FBI troll David Hinkson names as putting him in prison a hero. Patriot David Hickson sitting in jail says the same person named as a devil. So, yeah, so you can check this out. And we'll do, it's all self-explanatory. It's not before it's news. You can listen to the interviews yourself. You can make your own judgment. So the name of the game is, my friends, even is in general, honesty can be the best policy, but credibility can supersede that. All right, so credibility will always be the best policy. And this is why, Gordon Duff, with this article you wrote about Infowars, more than simply fake, how is your merits or credibility? Based on your past practice, many of them in the truth movement cannot believe you. So this article may be some accuracy in it, but are you producing percentage truths? or half-truths. New Eastern Outlook, they got their pros and cons too. I'll be sincere. They got some good writers. But simply something like this, you have to question the author as well. And that is all for now. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or even send me something that's interesting I may want to check out, whatever you do, please address your correspondences with decorum. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, YouTube, Freedom's Network, Scene.life, Minds.com. I got another one here. It's called FutureNet. Yeah, FutureNet. That one there. You can just look it up. You can look that up. Glenn Hennessy recommend that to me, and it's a real good, cool multimedia social network. And if you want to do some donations or send your comments as well, patreon.com/Loki Luck 3 eyes, which is the Roman numeral 3. In addition, you can email me at LokiLuck3, which is LokiLuck number 3 altogether, gmail.com, or you encrypted types LokiLuck03 at protonmail.com. All right. That's all for now, folks. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.